Hello everyone. Before diving into today's topic, we want to take a moment to thank you for your support. Every like, comment, and subscription truly makes a difference and helps this channel grow. If you enjoy our content and don't want to miss the upcoming videos, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to receive all updates. At first, it seemed like one of those stories that capture the imagination of radio astronomers. A fast radio burst, an energetic pulse from deep space, detected in an apparently empty region of the sky. It was June 2024 when radio telescopes from various observatories around the world recorded an anomalous signal. It was an FRB, fast radio burst, an extremely energetic and brief event, the origin of which remains one of the great mysteries of modern astrophysics. In the past, similar bursts have been linked to magnetars, colliding black holes, or mysterious ultramagnetic neutron stars. But this time, something didn't add up. The signal was too regular, too coherent. Too terrestrial? The mystery deepened in the following months. No known cosmic object appeared to be in the direction from which the signal originated. Yet, its intensity and spectral characteristics seemed perfectly consistent with a genuine FRB. A global hunt ensued. And what was discovered left everyone stunned. The source of the burst was a U.S. satellite launched in 1964 and declared dead since 1967. Its name? Relay 2. Relay 2 was one of the first communication satellites put into orbit by NASA during the space race era. It was part of an experimental program aimed at testing radio signal transmission between different points on Earth using an orbiting vehicle. After just 3 years of activity, the satellite was officially decommissioned, its signal terminated, and its orbit left to a slow decay expected to last decades. No one anticipated that, almost 60 years later, it could still emit a radio burst. And yet, that's exactly what happened. The scientists involved in the investigation explained that the burst was not emitted intentionally. It was the result of a rare combination of factors: a buildup of electrostatic charges on the satellite's solar panels, a short circuit triggered by the orbital thermal cycle, and perhaps a fortuitous alignment of its remaining electronics. A sort of technological ghost hiccup that produced a coherent signal, perfectly resembling a cosmic radio burst. This seemingly isolated event, however, cast a spotlight on a much broader and more urgent issue: the staggering amount of space debris currently orbiting Earth. As of today, it's estimated that there are over 36,000 catalogued objects larger than 10 centimeters, more than 1 million fragments between 1 and 10 centimeters, and tens of millions of smaller particles that are still potentially lethal. Many of these are decommissioned satellites, upper rocket stages, and debris from past collisions. Relay 2, in this scenario, is just one of over 3,000 zombie satellites still orbiting. But there's more. The case of the fake FRB highlighted another critical aspect: the possibility that these objects might interfere with radio astronomy. Radio telescopes, extraordinarily sensitive instruments, are designed to detect extremely faint signals from billions of light-years away. A single uncontrolled terrestrial signal can distort data, introduce errors, or, as in this case, mimic non-existent astrophysical phenomena. It's as if a rusted car, forgotten in a field, suddenly emitted a sound identical to that of a whale deep in the ocean. Confusion is inevitable. This leads to an even broader, almost philosophical reflection. To what extent are our technological footprints altering our perception of the universe? How many of the voices of the cosmos we believe we're hearing are in fact echoes of our own machines, our lost instruments, or debris left floating in orbital silence? The Relay 2 case has already been hailed by the scientific community as the most emblematic example of unintentional space archaeology. A discipline still in its infancy, yet starting to gain interest among physicists, engineers, and even technology historians. Studying space wreckage not only for safety reasons but also to better understand the trajectory of human evolution in the age of extraterrestrial exploration. Every abandoned satellite tells a story. And sometimes, as in the case of Relay 2, that story returns to be heard, literally, through a radio burst echoing across the starry night. But that's not all. This case has sparked a wave of discussion among space law experts. Who is responsible if a zombie satellite interferes with astronomical observations or even damages another vehicle in orbit? And what if a fake FRB were interpreted as an authentic extraterrestrial signal? What would the political, scientific, and cultural implications be? Questions that were once considered pure science fiction are now emerging urgently in international debate. At the heart of this orbital paradox, the scientific community has begun to view space sustainability through a new lens. Just a few years ago, talking about the orbital environment might have seemed like a theoretical exercise. Today, it's a necessity. Low Earth orbit, home to most active satellites and debris, has become a congested ecosystem, an invisible yet vital ring surrounding our planet, upon which our connectivity, climate monitoring, navigation, and scientific research depend. A collision between active satellites and space debris can trigger a domino effect known as the Kessler syndrome, a scenario proposed in 1978 by physicist Donald Kessler. According to this theory, each impact generates hundreds or thousands of new fragments, increasing the probability of further collisions in an exponential spiral. In the long term, this could render entire orbital regions inaccessible, compromising Earth's entire space infrastructure. The false FRB from Relay 2 was, paradoxically, a benign wake-up call. No damage, no impact, but a crystal-clear signal that near-Earth space is no longer a silent frontier. It has become a floating archive of dead technology, an invisible museum of ambition and failure, and a place where the past can interfere with the present, and even with our perception of the cosmos. Space agencies have begun to respond. The European Space Agency, ESA, and NASA are developing technologies for active debris removal, robotic, space janitors, capable of capturing and deorbiting defunct satellites. Some experimental projects, such as ClearSpace 1, involve the use of mechanical arms to grab specific debris and drag it into controlled decay orbits. Others, more futuristic, propose electromagnetic nets, laser beams, or even adhesive foams. But the issue is not only technical. It is also deeply legal and political. The absence of a strong, shared international governance makes it difficult to establish responsibilities, cleanup obligations, or operational standards for satellite end-of-life. Current regulations are based on the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, signed at a time when the issue of debris was simply unimaginable. That treaty states, among other things, that each state remains responsible for its space objects even after they cease functioning. But in practice, today, no one is actively monitoring zombie satellites like Relay 2. For this reason, there is growing talk of a potential Goal 18 inches within the United Nations SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, a specific target for the sustainability of the space environment, alongside those dedicated to life on land and underwater. An official recognition that Earth's orbit is an integral part of the planetary ecosystem and must be preserved with the same care as a rainforest or coral reef. There is, however, also a more philosophical, and perhaps unsettling, dimension that this episode has highlighted: the impossibility, at times, of distinguishing between what is human and what is cosmic. When our debris begins to mimic the signals of the universe, it opens a field of ambiguity that challenges not only science but also our conception of exploration. It's as if, in projecting ourselves into space, we had created orbital mirrors that reflect our own limitations, our omissions, our recklessness. Some astrophysicists reflecting on the Relay 2 episode have gone even further. If a dead satellite can generate an FRB, what guarantees us that all radio bursts detected so far are truly of cosmic origin? Is it possible that some are the result of forgotten technologies, launched by powers that never publicly disclosed the details of their missions? Or, venturing into even more speculative territory, is it conceivable that other technological civilizations have done the same, leaving wreckage that now imitates natural signals? These questions, though still unanswered, clearly point to the direction space research is taking. A science of the unknown that no longer merely seeks new stars or planets but must also decipher the traces of our own presence in space. In this sense, every piece of metal floating above our heads is also a fragment of our history, a silent witness to our passage, an object that compels us to reflect on the very meaning of exploration. The mystery of the false FRB has thus become a powerful symbol, a call for responsibility, but also for humility. Because while it's true that the universe is still full of enigmas waiting to be unveiled, it's equally true that the most dangerous ones may not come from the depths of the cosmos, but from the forgotten remnants of our own ambitions. And as new missions prepare to explore the Moon, Mars, and beyond, the warning from Relay 2 remains. Listening to space does not mean merely pointing antennas toward infinity, it also means looking back. Because sometimes what we think we're discovering out there is merely an echo of our orbital past.